I am so glad you're here because this week's message from the angels is one you will not want to miss. It is about how suffering will end. And it ties together so many things, so many teachings that we have always had, but never been able to connect the dots. And I find this one to be in some ways so simple and yet is so profound. So welcome back to my channel, you guys. I am so glad you're here. And for those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Ann Tucker. I'm a trance channel and I channel from the angelic realm. I do that by going into a deep meditative state or trance. And from there, I raise my awareness up as high as I can go. And then I go a little higher, I connect, and then messages and healing and information comes through. And I share it here with you guys on YouTube. And today's message is just awesome. I was so excited when I was reading it and going through it this morning on the couch. I was practically jumping off the couch because it is phenomenal. The message is about how is it that we create our new reality without suffering? And it is understanding the structure of our current reality, as our current reality is designed to show us lack and contrast. And we are in that space, and we find the disharmony inside of us and we portray it out into our world, and we experience lack and suffering because that is what we have inside. And so our desires and our wants are focused upon the things that create lack in our lives. So it's, anyways, a way to describe it is so much clearer than I ever could do. So you will have the full message from them. That's how I channel it, and I share the recording of the original channeling with you guys, and then I break it down afterwards. But it is a beautiful message about how in the new reality, it's like we are different and the structure of our desire is different, and we live in a world that perpetuates fulfillment. So it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So I also wanted to share with you guys something super cool that happened over the last week, that we have been talking about instant manifestation, about how the energies are shifting, how we are working with the energy differently, how it seems to be like things are showing up magically in our lives. And I love the stories I've been hearing from you guys and the experiences I've been having that are bringing this to light, where things just seem to come out like you put a wish out into the world and then boom, it just materializes magically. It's been absolutely amazing. And this has happened in two really cool ways in the past week. So one of them, you guys know, I was in Sedona. I was in Sedona for the Transcendence Retreat, which was awesome. I was a speaker there, and I loved it. Met some amazing, wonderful people. Had a super great time. And but one of the people who has been through my entire soul convergence program, she did all of the work. She did the gift activation. She knew I was coming to Sedona, so she's been working with me this whole time. She knew I was coming to Sedona, but she had to work. She has a shop, and she couldn't leave the shop on the days that I was going to be there. And so she has her own very close relationship with the angels. She asked them, said a little prayer, will you please send Anne to me? Will you please, so we can meet? Well, she didn't tell me this, right? But on my last day there, a friend of mine said, hey, you got to go check out this one area where there's all these really cool shops. It's super cute. And I was there with some of the dream analysts from my program, the people who helped me to deliver soul convergence, that do the dream analysis, were there with me. And so we all went to this shop and we were looking around, and it's a huge place. I mean, there's probably hundreds of shops and restaurants at this place. And we went through probably 10% of them because we just had a little bit of time. Well, it just so happens, of course, that we walked right into her shop. And so we walk in and I hear somebody call my name, and I'm looking around like, who do I know? Who do I know here? And I turn around and it's her. And so here's the photo of all of us meeting. So that's her right there. So so we got to meet, and she told me the story that she had asked the angels, and then poof, there it was. It happened. I had no idea. The angels were putting everything in a way, to direct me so that we would go, and we got to meet. It was so amazing. So anyway, so that happened, which I just loved it. I thought that was just so cool. And I love to see, her connection with the angels, and to see how our angels talk to one another, how cool. So, okay. So one beautiful thing. The other beautiful thing is truly amazing. So some of you guys know that I had put out an email to my email list about asking for an angelic blessing because many people have reached out looking for scholarships. And so I had this idea that we would do a prayer together, and I put it out on my email list, just sent out to my email. And so we said, okay, here's how we're going to do it. And I had some specific things I suggested that people do, which I communicated in that email. And lots lots of people did it. Lots of people emailed back and said, "Could we all made this wish together, this for this beautiful and just angelic blessing for people to get a scholarship." And we call it the Angel Scholarship. And then guess what? The angels heard us, and they didn't come through how I anticipated, of course, because we left room for the angels to fulfill it how they would. But they spoke through one of the members of our community who stepped forward and who offered to sponsor several people through soul convergence to pay their way 100%. And so, which absolutely, I mean, mind blowing gift. And so then, so I was able to match that gift 100%. And so we were able to give twice as many scholarships, and which has just been awesome. So I put that out on my email list. If you want to know about future scholarship opportunities, make sure you are on my email list. And it's just been awesome. So the recipients of that scholarship will be hearing about it today. And it was need-based, so people who were unable to do, people who were deeply committed, who wanted to do the program very much, and who had no possible way of affording it. Those are the people who were able to apply and who were receiving the scholarship. So just incredible, like so amazingly uplifting. And so it was in that context that this message came in. Okay, because I need to tell you guys that I was not at all prepared for the number of scholarship applications that came in. It was over 800 applications. I'm not exaggerating, over 800. And these are all people who genuinely were in a situation of financial need where they had no possible way of providing for their own, to purchase their way into the program. And so it was in that context, and the scholarships were amazing, but there weren't 800 scholarships, like it's just, there was no way to do that many. And so in that space of reading those stories and having the desire, like wishing I could help that many, wishing it was possible for all of us, to help that many, that this message came in. And the message is called the How Suffering Will End. And it makes me actually it's emotional just even thinking about it, like the idea that yes, there is that much suffering in the world, in this world, but the world that we are changing, and our world is changing. So in this message, the angels tell us, how is it that all of us will be delivered into a space where there is no lack, right? Where there is no suffering. So absolutely beautiful message. So anyways, I can't wait for you guys to hear it. I'll share it here shortly, but in the meantime, just a quick reminder for those of you, if you have been thinking about coming to my retreat, which is going to be happening here in Seattle, the last weekend of October 20, what is it? The last weekend, 24th, 5th, 26th, 27th. Anyways, the last weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of October, it is happening here in Seattle. And the retreats, I absolutely love. I am a retreat person, you guys. I love the energy of being together with a group. We bring in the angels. I call it eat, pray, love, eat, pray, love, eat, pray, love, because that's what we do. We eat amazing plant-based food. We channel the angels, and then we rest and relax and love one another. And then we come back, we eat, pray, love. We just do it all day long. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, eat, pray, love. And it's just amazingly fun, because the depth of the experience, when we have that much, the angels create a container and we are held within it, and incredible healing happens. Incredible information is communicated. It's an amazing time. So if you have felt called to join us, there is space for the deeper experiences. I believe are full, but there is space in the retreat if you would like to come. And I would love to have you there. And it's not, what was I gonna say? It's not a huge group of people. I like to keep it where there's still the space where you can come and you will be held within community to be able to meet one another. Because a big part of the fun is making friends. A big part is coming and finding the people that you connect with. And that is very possible and highly encouraged in this experience. So it's just a lot of fun. So I hope you come. The message, I'll put the link here as well as below in the description box. I hope to see you there. All right, enjoy the message, you guys.
Beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Be with us now, for we herald the times. They are short. They are shortening. We wish to bring you the sound of your own peace, the sound of your own surrender to what is. There is a fragrance of what is lost that lingers on the horizon, that beckons you on and forward into the dimensional recreation of what has been. And we would speak to you now of your longing, of the gestures of your own goodwill to recreate, to live again what has been before. And we would speak to you now in the offering of what has become, and speak to you from the perspective we have of where you are going. And we wish to share that all is not lost, though surrendered. All need not be gone, though you must release it. There will be within the new beginnings much which has been shared before. There will be the makings of a time that speaks to your own knowledge and your own points of reference. There will be the sensation of what you have known, though it will reveal itself differently. You will understand yourself to have foregone some things, lived without what has previously been revealed as necessary. There will be the sense of yourselves as no longer wanting some things. But in the new tomorrow that comes, that which you find necessary shall be. That which you find inherent to your own happiness shall be afforded. You will discover within your own heart that you have the makings of creation. You will discover that you have within your own abilities a reference point which can come into preparation and realization. You will discover yourselves within an ancient memory which has lain dormant, within which you knew yourselves to be able to draw forward into presence that which you require. This shall come again. There shall be amongst yourselves the many memories of what once was, shared as if recalled upon a sudden moment. There shall be these shared points of reference where you shall call upon one another to embody those souls you have been before, to draw forward into the then, now moment what you shall require. There are many skills which you are lacking and needing. There are many thought points which have not occurred before to yourselves. And these shall be formed anew. These shall come into presence. You shall have what you require, what is needed. How will it be determined what is lacking, what is needed, what you have want of? It shall come through in the form of decision points. It shall come through in the sensation of your own desire for something, not as in a relaxation into the energies of what has been. For yourselves will be changed. You shall no longer be desirous of those things which are toxic and against the human condition. You shall no longer frame your reference point from among the societal constraints which you have become accustomed to. You shall form your knowledge of what is from the perspective of hearts that feel gladness, from the perspective of life and love that intermixes within one another's own sense of yourselves as together as one. And within this perspective, what shall rise to your awareness is what shall serve the all, what shall come to serve all of humanity and earth herself, what shall come to serve us all. And within this perspective, all you want and desire shall be made. It shall feel as if you have disturbed something within your own hearts, as if there is a longing that can be shared amongst yourselves, as if all have agreed upon a desire for something that is not there. And it shall then materialize, not all at once, not as if you can press upon a desire and have it made. It shall come into the foundation of your own experience. It shall come as if you have created something, and it is the want that you are needing. You shall find yourselves available and have available to yourselves the tools that are necessary, the means that shall be provided, the structures that are needed to create what is wanted. It will be as if you are a part of the apparatus of creation, and you shall have want of nothing. You shall find yourselves well equipped in the desires which are easily fulfilled by what is surrounding yourselves. It shall be as if all that is was made for the purpose of satisfying that which you want. And what you want is made for the purpose of being satisfied. All that is occurring now is in dissimilarity to that experience which you will have. The world you are in is created for the opportunity of seeing what you lack, of experiencing suffering. It is as if the current moment of now polarizes itself against your own want and need, so that you may experience the absence of that which you desire and can focus upon it and experience your polarity in juxtaposition to that which you would create. It is a process by which you have been given the opportunity to confront your own disharmonies from within. But in the new times that are forming, all that you are has changed. All that you are going forth shall not be in seek or want of contrast to the same measure. You shall not search for that which you are in want of. You shall instead find harmony and live harmoniously within a realm that is created from your own desire to want nothing. And thus you shall have exactly what is needed. There shall be provided to yourselves shelter. Home, as it shall be found, is made with one another and amongst the ease of a world that needs no second guessing, that has no doubt within itself, that does not need to prove its worth to anyone. You shall find yourselves found again in the center of your own love and friendship. And this shall form the foundations of a world that is filled with plenty. There shall not be a need for that legacy of striving. You shall find yourselves pulled into creative endeavor and shall discover amongst yourselves great swirls of opportunity to form into reality that which you have thought of. And this shall delight and amaze you and your friends. You shall find yourselves in a creative purpose, abundantly expressive in all ways. For some, it shall be through the arts of healing one another. For some, it shall be through the thought of creative expression in words and stories. For some, it shall be artistic endeavor. Some shall wish to create through architecture. There are many forays that can be made, all of which are formed within the concept of self as adequate, enough, of having been met with abundance at every turn. And there shall not be a sense of yourselves as in contrast with one another or anything. There shall not be the need to strive against another's comparative force. The magnanimous behavior of humanity shines in the new generative focus of your own consciousness. You shall find yourselves not needing, not behaving against what is offered, but enjoying what is and finding prosperity because of it. You shall not suffer any longer. So, how awesome is that message? Like, how amazing is that message, you guys? Yeah, totally love this message. And it is like it makes it, for me, it was a complete, like one of those things where they take what I had always understood and then they put it on end and let me see it from a brand new perspective. And hopefully you guys got that too. Like, it was, for me, it was, and then of course, once I understood it, it was like, oh my gosh, this is true in every way. Like, this is an extension of something I already understood, but in a much bigger way, in a way that governs how we create a reality. And it completely understands why the angels have been harping on us about release, allow, release, allow. We have to be in acceptance. We have to be in flow. We have to accept what is. This is how healing happens, by accepting what is, right? We can't be in resistance. We have to release our resistance, because resistance is what creates the suffering. It creates a world. We are in a world of resistance, and that resistance manifests as suffering. Like, pow, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, this is it. Like, this is how it happens. This is how our new reality comes to be, is because we release our resistance to what is, right? We accept what is. We find happiness is what is. And through that experience of not experiencing lack, we don't create more lack. we have an expectancy of our needs being met, and then they are, right? And so we are living this 3D realm that we are in is a world of suffering, a world of absence of lack, where we are constantly recognizing what we don't have. And we are meant to move into a new world where what we experience is that, and not only that, but the big thing is that what we want has changed. So we're not going to move to the new world and be like, I am manifesting, like whatever, like stay in a 5-star hotel, whatever. Like, I'm manifesting, whatever, endless pizza that I can eat that's not going to give me a dairy reaction. Like, whatever it is, we're not going to be feeling that. We're going to be like, yay, whatever shows up for me is like, we're going to feel the perfection of it. And we're going to feel that what we want. This is the amazing thing that comes from when they've been talking about how when we go through this shift, we activate our sixth sense and we connect to each other, and we connect to each other's experience through the perspective of like this deep psychic, telepathic connection, emotional telepathy, where we feel each other's feelings. So from that space of feeling one another, we start to desire things that are for the greater good, that it's almost like we tune into one another and say, what does everyone want? What can I create that everyone will want? And that's good for the earth, because we'll be feeling the earth too. And so we'll be tuning in and say, what can I create that would be super fun for everyone, that the earth would love too? And then that is what we fixate on, and that is what we create. Right. And so it becomes, and so we're always living in this state of perfect abundance. Like, holy cow, you guys. Like, it's real. This is real. I cannot believe it. I'm so excited. So excited. Yeah. If you can't tell, I'm like practically like vibrating through the camera here. So yeah. And he's saying this thriving tomorrow would be awesome. I totally agree, says Brandy. And then he says, major light bulb moment for me, still soaking in and absorbing all the goodness and blessings. Absolutely, right? Yeah, absolutely. And Leslie says, that moved me to tears. I've been holding a chronic illness community for years and need physical healing myself. Please, yes, let it come quickly. Absolutely. You guys, so incredible. And you're saying kind of makes you want to stand up and dance for joy and gratitude. Yes. And Don says, we need contrast to be able to see what we prefer and choose from our hearts. Without contrast, we wouldn't be able to choose wisely. And that 100%, Don, that is where we are today. And that is the world we are living in, is that contrast has helped us to understand what we want, right? Contrast, the living in contrast has given us the ability to see, mostly we start from what we don't want. We're like, ooh, that's contrast. I don't like that feeling. How can I not have that? So we're always in this experience of trying to see through contrast to define who we are in separation. But when we go into this new state of consciousness, we're trying to move from separation to unity. So we're trying to tune into the collective desire, the collective one. And so we have to let go of our separation. We are not meant to forget who we are. We're meant to take our individual personalities and bring them into the collective. But within that collective, we tune into the desires of the all and what's best, what rises all boats in a rising tide, right? So it's a new phase of living and understanding ourselves, right? As humanity, as a collective, and also individually, because we'll still grow individually. We will take every experience we have in the collective and then incorporate it to what it is for us to be individually. So amazing, you guys, like totally crazy. Joy says, this is fulfilling my heart's desire to share my joy. I love it. And Erin says, your throat chakra is beautiful. Turquoise, gorgeous. Thank you so much, Erin. That's so cool. I love that you can see it. Just this morning, she was working, the Mother of Creation works on she does a lot of crazy stuff with, anyway, she was working on throat stuff. I think it's because the frequencies come from my throat chakra when I'm channeling and when I'm speaking of them and about them. So, okay, so let's go ahead and break this message down, you guys. And Nina's joining us from Norway. Welcome. That's so cool. I love that. And Diana says, I'm so relieved that artistic pursuits will be needed, right? I think that's going to be where it's at. Like we're going to be in the new world creating whatever fills us up, whatever brings us joy that will bring joy to others. And then Sheeny, who, by the way, an angel told me, I was a earth angel, told me I've been pronouncing your name wrong this entire time. And you are so sweet not to tell me, Sheeny. Is it Sheeny or Sheeny? Anyways, hopefully I'm saying it right now. So thank you. And you're saying, Daniel kindly provided me with a link to the to this, or I would not be here. Oh, I'm so glad you guys both made it. Welcome. All right. So you guys ready to break it down? Let's talk it through. So first they start out, they always give us an inkling in the beginning what the message is going to be about. They say, be with us now, for we herald the times. They are short. They are shortening. Yes, right? They're coming soon. This change is coming soon. And say, we wish to bring you the sound of your own peace, the sound of your own surrender to what is. So here, right in the first paragraph, they say it all, that where do we find our peace? By surrendering to what is. So we surrender to what is, we release our attachment to what was, to what we don't have, we release our sense of lack, and that moves us into this new state of consciousness, which is around understanding, which is feeling from within that all our needs are met and all our needs become met, right? So right in the first page, that's how we get our peace, by surrendering to what is. They go on to say, there is a fragrance in what is lost that lingers on the horizon, that beckons you on and forward into the dimensional recreation of what has been. So they're saying that when we think about what we've lost, and they've told us before, the only way we can miss out on the flash of light is if we are focused on what we've lost, if we're focused on trying to recreate what was, and that's through attachment. If we get very, very attached to a particular outcome, wanting things to be the way they were. So this could come from, say that you have said for yourself, and this is not uncommon, you guys. What if you have said, you've set a marker for yourself and said, I will only think I've succeeded. I will only feel adequate in the world when I achieve X, and fill in the blank. It could be like a particular degree, right? I need to achieve this degree in order to be loved by my family, right? I need to become, all my family were doctors. I have to be a doctor too. So I'm fixated on being a doctor. And if I cannot be a doctor, I won't be loved. So when that flash of light comes, I'll be like, wait, can you wait till I become a doctor, right? It's like, no, like we can't do that. What if it is like a fixation on, it could be anything. It could be anything that you have a strong attachment to. It could be any kind of physical thing, an achievement, whatever. It could be on something for your family. It could be like, I cannot, I'm really, really attached to this idea. What if it's having a child? Like I'm super attached to having a child. And that attachment is the recognition that you don't have a child now, you're attached to having a child. That is an attachment to something that does not currently exist. So we have to release. And that doesn't mean you can't have a child. It means we cannot focus on the lack of the child. Same thing with what if your desire is to have your own home, whether it like maybe you've always had roommates and you're like, please let me live alone someday. And that simple little wish is out there going like, let me live alone someday. And that's out there. And so when the new times come, you'll be like, I'm reaching behind for my experience of living alone. Well, that again, like I said, is an expectation or an attachment to lack, to something that we're wishing to experience that we haven't experienced yet. So all of it, we have to just give ourselves a clean slate of, and it's about the practice of accepting what is, learning to be in the moment, accepting even if what is showing up for you right now is kind of sucky. And I know for some of you guys, like, believe me, I just read through over 800 scholarship applications from people, and some people are in really difficult situations. And so how do you get to a space where you can say, accept what is, right? And I think it is through that sense of loving yourself, and loving yourself, knowing that when you put yourself in a difficult, and I say that at the soul level, when our soul has chosen a very, very difficult path, it is because it is expanding our soul. It's expanding us so that we can incorporate more love. And so that is how we accept what is. We say, okay, I understand this process is expanded. You don't have to like the process. We just have to love what is. We have to love ourselves through it. And so love yourself through the difficulty that you're going through, and understand that what you're experiencing, the capacity you're growing now, makes you an exceptional soul. It makes you full of greater and greater divinity, greater and greater love, which will stay with you always. So we have to get to that space of not focusing on what we don't have, not focusing on lack, and focusing on what is, and focusing on accepting, this releasing. And it's so interesting. I just did this just the other day with someone I love, where they asked me to look at something for them, psychically, to look at something. And I felt their energy, and I felt in their body, there was this, everything in the body was focused on holding. It was like, almost like they were trying to generate it from somewhere in their body. Like, this thing I want, I'm going to just hold myself tight until I squeeze it out somehow, and it was like, okay, stop. Like, you can't, if you're doing this, nothing can get in. Like, literally all your whole field is shut tight because you're in resistance. You're forcing. And we have to, like, I was like, just open the body, open. Like, the more you open, then the more things can flow in. So and that's acceptance to what is. We cannot resist what is. We have to be in the space of energetic fluidity so that new stuff can flow to you. Yeah. And then Rodney says, you are worthy simply because you exist. I so agree. Absolutely. Angela says, such a sucky day. I'm so happy. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you're happy with your sucky day. Oh, that's beautiful. No wonder your name is Angela Light, because you're light, even on a sucky day. That is awesome. Yeah. So here we go. And you're saying, oh, and you just heard that you, from Beautiful Healer, we both love it, that you are an earth angel. I love it. That is so cool. Yeah. Love it. So, and then you're saying, yep, mine is that to find my husband. Yes, there you go. Great example. That would be a thing that would then turn around and be like, wait, I don't want to go to the light without my partner, without my true love, So we have to release that and recognize they may be waiting for you on the other side of that light, and be good with what is, be not to focus on the absence. Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. They say that we linger, right? It's lingering on the horizon is that beckons you on and forward into the dimensional recreation of what has been. So they're saying this is the thing about being human, is that we are attached. We get attached to stuff and to things and to what we want. And they say, and we would speak to you now of your longing, of the gestures of your own goodwill to recreate, to live again what has been before. So often it is like we do it through this, oh, I want to help others. I want to help this person get what they want, right? So it's like, yeah, often gestures of goodwill towards ourselves, towards our life, towards our loved ones, all of that. It's a longing, anywhere we have longing. They go on to say, and we would speak to you now in the offering of what has become. So in other words, they're talking to us from the future, saying they see us as we will be, and speak to you from the perspective we have of where you are going. And we wish to share that all is not lost, though surrendered. All is not gone, though you must release it. So I love this, because they're saying that just because we surrender to what is, just because we release everything, doesn't mean that everything is lost. It's about our energy. It's about how we feel. So you can release everything, but that doesn't mean that everything goes away, which is a relief, right? Because you might well be like, it's almost like you have to tell yourself, okay, I may not know what I want in the future, but some of these things around me are pretty nice. I would imagine that they might carry forward into my future, but we don't want to fixate on it. So you just release and say, okay, whatever carries forward with me is in my highest and best good, and just release attachment, right? So even though some of the things around you will carry forward, and that's nice to know. It's nice to know that when we get to the new world, our new reality, that not everything will be different, that there will be things that are the same, but we just need to release our attachment to them. So so then they go on to say, there will be within the new beginnings much which has been shared before. So a lot of stuff will be the same, right? There will be the makings of a time that speaks to your own knowledge and your own points of reference. There will be the sensation of what you have known, though it will reveal itself differently. So they're saying the new reality comes from us. They've told us that we are going to be creating. Once we move through, they said that the flash of light, and if anyone has not heard of the flash of light, it is like the moment that the angels say we will look back on, and the moment that everything changed. And it's going to be this influx of energy, rainbow starlight that's coming, that may come from, some people have speculated it might be Betelgeuse. It's this energy that's coming to the planet that was going to be a massive opportunity for shifting. Not that we haven't been receiving tons of energy, because we have, and we've been in this process, but this is the Godzilla of energies. Okay, this is the big one that's going to raise us up, and it will bring us up the staircase. But at the top of the stairs is a door we have to move through, and that is where our free will comes in. We get to choose whether we surrender and allow, or whether we want to hang on to what was, and that's the moment, right? And it's not a one and done, that you will have the opportunity of the rest of your life to make that choice. But when the flash of light comes, there will be those who are ready to move into it right away, and their job is to turn around and help anybody else who needs help, because it's all for one and one for all. We are all invited. But that when we get there, they've said that it's not like we will come through and move through it and then the new reality will be crystal clear in front of us. We will feel a little bit like we have brain fog, like it'll be like things are fuzzy. And they said the reason for that is because the new reality is being created from inside of us. Oh, how funny. Godzilla, G-O-D. That is awesome. I love it. Good one. So that's really funny. So and so what was I going to say? Oh, okay. So anyways, so we will be fuzzy. It won't be fully created yet. It'll be forming from inside of us as we are there. So in the beginning, like I said, it won't be totally clear. So know that it's being formed from inside of us, which means that some degree of the new reality is going to be formed by what we know and how we've learned about the world. And so there's going to be necessarily some of our past experience is going to carry forward into the new reality. Even if it's being formed from a higher state of consciousness, we are still doing it. So it's coming from us. So it's still going to be uniquely human. It's still going to be a human world. It's not like we're going to be moving into like Avatar world. It's going to be human. So there'll be a lot of things, points of reference, points of understanding that will all be the same, which is, I think, in a way that I think it's relieving. I think that's like, okay, good. I'm glad it'll be, but they said it'll show up differently. So outside of the context of lack and suffering. So there'll be major things that will be different about it. All right, so then they go on to say, and some people say I talk fast, by the way. If I talk too quickly, there's a setting, you can always watch back on YouTube, there's a setting where you can slow me down, where there's like, you can turn me down. It's like setting of how quickly. I don't know exactly where that setting is. I'd love it if someone put it in the comments, but there's a thing you can do where you can like make me talk slower, which I think that's a good idea if I'm talking too quickly. So I apologize. It's just, I get excited and that's how it comes out. So, okay. So we go on and they say, you will understand yourself to have foregone some things, lived without what has previously been revealed as necessary. So there will be some things we won't have anymore that we used to think were necessary and now we don't in the new reality. They say there will be the sense of yourselves as no longer wanting some things. But in the new tomorrow that comes, that which you find necessary shall be. That which you find inherent to your own happiness shall be afforded. And here they don't mean afforded as in like, I don't think they mean it as in like money, like what is in your budget, or maybe they do, but afforded is like given. It's like a meaning for like, it's like that it's going to be available to you, right? I think that's what afforded actually, the root of it actually means. And she says only her Indian friend speaks faster than I do. Oh, Wendy is sharing. Thank you so much, Wendy. She says bottom right of YouTube screen, select 0.75 speed. Also turn on closed captions to help follow. Thank you. That is awesome. I love that. Hopefully I won't look really weird being like slow-mo. Hello. I'll be like the angels soon. Yeah, that's funny. So, okay, and Casey says, your speed is enthusiasm. Yes, see, you understand. I feel seen. You understand me. Yes, that's exactly it. I just can't repress it. Exactly. All right, so here we go. Then they go on to say, where is it? So there are some things we won't have, right? But that we won't think we need them. It's like, because we are changed, but we'll have what we feel we need, what is inherent to our happiness, which is great. They go on to say, you will discover within your own heart that you have the makings of creation. Okay, so here is a super trippy awesomeness thing that happened over the weekend when I was in Sedona. So I got together with some friends, many of them whom were in our that were dream it's hard to say, dream analysts who work in our soul convergence program, and they came to the conference. It was super fun to be able to hang out. Well, we all got together one night, and one of the things that came through as we were hanging out, because sometimes the angels do speak in and talk to people. They told her that she will have the ability in the new reality to teach people how to manifest things into form. That teaching people in the new reality how to create, like literally from nothing to presto, here it is, that she will have the ability to teach people that, which like, that came before this message. So when that came to, everybody's like, wow, that's amazing. That would be so incredible that you could actually be like, I wish an orange, and then boop, there's an orange. Although the angels are saying it doesn't quite work that way. That's what we thought at the time. But super cool that she will be one of the people teaching us how to do it. So we will have in our heart the makings of creation, which is truly the idea that we can make something out of nothing. And they say, you will discover that you have within your own abilities a reference point which can come into preparation and realization. So in other words, a reference point is like a point of desire where you can see, where it's almost like a point of imagination that you can say, okay, I can visualize this or imagine this as something that would be cool. I have this little idea for a thing of awesomeness. So that's your point of reference, right? So you have a reference point which can come into preparation and realization. So taking an idea into form, realization. You will discover yourselves within an ancient memory which has lain dormant, within which you knew yourselves to be able to draw forward into presence that which you require. So you're saying this is a skill we have all had at some point in our past, and way like ancient. Like at some point we were able to do this. And they say, this shall come again. So it's like a reactivating. Somebody told me recently that one of the angels have described moving through the flash of light as that there's a second aspect of ourselves that's at a higher vibration that we were born with inside of ourselves, and that it blossoms from within us. Someone told me recently that there would be an activation of dormant DNA, which is kind of what this sounds like, that there's like old DNA or something like that. It's old skills, an old memory of ourselves, and an ancient self that is birthed again, that comes that we can then access, so that we can do this lost art of creation. Then they go on to say, there shall be amongst yourselves the many memories of what once was shared, as if recalled upon a sudden moment. So it will be like, yeah, all of us at once will have this, oh my gosh, remember we can do this. And maybe it'll be a thing like I remember a little bit and you remember a little bit and that person remembers a little bit. And together we compare and say, oh, okay, so I have a piece and you have a piece and you have a piece, and this is how we do it. Because that's typically how humans work, is that, and that's the same thing with channeling, you guys, is that I'm sharing these messages, but many of you listen to many different channelers and you get pieces and added little pieces to this story, which I think is the way it's meant to be. We're meant to help one another, that truth comes through many people. And I think that's awesome. And you're saying, Jashini can see the light blue hue at my throat. Oh my gosh, how cool, you guys. I love that. Wow. That is so cool. That is awesome. Yeah, interesting. Super interesting. Well, it could be, you guys, I recently had, you guys know I'm always working on myself, and I had 2 huge healings just recently that came through for me, that I was working on myself. You guys know I follow my dreams, just like we teach in Soul Convergence. We help people learn how their dreams can help them, and how to learn about that. And we don't teach dream analysis. That's what Michael Sheridan teaches, but we have the graduates from his program that come in to help others understand their dreams, because it's definitely learning that is a skill that has to be developed. But anyways, I do that to follow my dream. I follow what needs to be, and I watch in my reality what's showing up and my triggers, and I heal all of that. And I had a really big one that was, oh my gosh, you guys, I should share this just because I feel like in sharing my journey, I feel like in many ways, it's almost like we need permission to not be perfect, there's never a moment that we're there. There's never a moment that we're like, I'm done. Even though I thought there was a moment like several years ago, like my healing dream stopped. I'm like, woohoo, I did it. And then I started dating again, and kapow, in comes the healing dreams, But yeah, there's always more. There's always ways we can come brighter. We can become lighter. which is beautiful. Like life never gets boring. There's always room for growth for us. But so I had this, and I just want to share it with you guys so you guys understand how I do it, how I heal, and the fact that there's always so many layers to go through. I have major wounds from birth, or I have had major wounds from before I was born, from when I was in utero. And that was some of my first stuff that showed up when I first started healing. Before I even knew what healing was, before I knew anything about dream analysis, I was having dream after dream after dream. Like it was like ridiculous. Every night I was dreaming about trying to check into a hotel. And hotels are about your birth. So when you dream about a hotel, it's telling you wounds from birth. And I had plenty of them. And because all kinds of stuff happened around my birth. And anyways, but it was plaguing me, absolutely plaguing me, these dream after dream after dream. It was like every night I was trying to check into a hotel and I couldn't. And finally, one night I just had the idea before I would go to bed that I would imagine myself checking into the hotel and it would work out great. And I was like, okay, I'm tired of these dreams. What can I do? I sat there and I just meditated before I went to bed and I imagined myself checking into the hotel and everything went beautifully. As a matter of fact, in the dream, in my meditation, I owned the hotel. And like the hotel manager came out and was like whisking me in to go up to my, my beautiful suite that was mine, that I owned, that it was like so easy and beautiful and everyone was so nice. And that's how, and then I never had that dream again. Boom, right? Helped. I'm like, okay, there's something to this. But that was not all there was, because my journey has been like thing after thing after thing. Turns out the doctor, when I was born, the doctor was super mad at my mom because it was old school back then. And everybody was supposed to be put under. They were sedated during birth. And my mom didn't want to do that. My mom, yay, mom, decided she wanted to do it. She had taken like Lamaze classes and she did not want to be drugged. She wanted to stay conscious during the birth. And the doctor was super PO'd at her, like really like mad, angry. And so I had all these dreams of birth about angry man, like all these scary men in my birth. Because it was the doctor. and I didn't even know anything about that. I tell my mom about the dreams and she's like, oh yeah, the doctor was really mad at me. Luckily, she had a beautiful nurse who was there with her, a woman who helped her, who was very sympathetic and helped her through the whole process. But as an infant, I was afraid because I was coming into this angry man who was going to catch me as I was born. But that aside, and then they took me away from my mom and put me in a room some down the hall where all the babies were put, right? All the babies were put away from their mothers back then in a room by themselves. So I have all these dreams about being abandoned and feeling like, why am I here? Like there's no one here for me. What am I doing here? And this is something I've had to heal. So, and this is, you guys know I talk about the fear of being seen. It comes from the fear of non-belonging, the fear of feeling like I don't belong. And I know so many of you guys can relate to that, the fear of not belonging. Or the fear of being seen. Both of them are biggies, especially for us light workers, right, who are being called to be seen. So, and mine stems from this experience of being taken from my mom at birth by the angry doctor and put down the hall in some room with a bunch of other babies. And in the most recent one, it was knowing that my dad is an infant. I'm there in the hospital. I know, and it didn't show up this way in the dream. I'm at a party, which is about my birth. Parties are about your birth. I'm at a party and I'm supposed to be meeting a man and he stands me up. We're texting and he's supposed to arrive and I know in the dream that he's in another room. He's nearby, but he's not coming to see me. So this is me at birth and the man is my dad. And I'm in this room and my dad's not coming to see me because I'm locked away in this room with all the babies, right? And even though like he had no intention of abandoning me, my mom had no intention of abandoning me, but as an infant, you don't know that. All you know is I was aware because you have this hypersensitive awareness as an infant. I was aware my dad is in the building and he's not coming to see me, right? I'm alone in this weird little incubator. Like, what am I doing in here? And there's nobody here that loves me. And you know what I mean? Like, why am I here? There must be something wrong with me. That's where we always go. There's something wrong with me, right? So that is the net result. So I've been working on this wound and I've come to understand in more depth the wound. But the piece that came out just the other day was this thing about the being at the party and the male not coming to see me. And it making me feel out of place. And then in the dream, I go down into the basement, which is about the subconscious. I'm in the subconscious, and there's all these children in there. And I'm like, oh, yay, there's kids here. There's young children here. And they all run past me and leave as if I don't belong. And I feel I don't belong, right? So, and feeling outcast is the thing, feeling like an outcast. So I go into it, I try to heal it. And for me, that means I raise up the emotion, I bring back the dream, I raise up the emotion, I feel the feelings, and I go into, and then I'm trying to rework the dream, just like I reworked the dream about the hospital, about the hotel. I try to go into the space with all the children, which is going into my subconscious, and I try to feel belonging with the children. And I imagine myself standing in a circle with all the children. And the first thing that happens is I see a young boy, he looks Indian, a young Indian boy, pokes his head through, and I can see him, and he's loving and accepting, and I can see him there. I'm like, okay, great. So my masculine energy at this time is okay, at the time of this wounding. Masculine energy is intact. There he is. He's smiling at me. But I cannot get any of the girls to step forward. So the wound from this affected my feminine energy. So I can get, and I'm trying to get any of the girls to step forward into my circle, and I can't. It's like they're standing behind a barrier. So I'm thinking to myself, how can I possibly break through this? So then I think, okay, I'm going to imagine my daughter, as a little girl. And sure enough, I see her little head, 3 years old. She's so cute at 3 years old. Oh my gosh, that girl. These cheeks, she was so cute. So she pokes her little head through, and I see her, and I'm like, yay, okay, I've got a little girl who is willing to accept me. And so I open my heart to her, and I try to accept her forward, and she comes towards me, but there's a barrier between us, and she can't get through it. She's trying to reach me. I'm trying to reach her, trying to come together. We can't, because there's something else, or there's another layer. I'm like, okay, I got to go into the next layer. And this is how healing works, you guys. This is why I want to share this with you, is there's layers to this. And this is, you guys understand that as I'm doing this, that I am a very, very, very practiced healer. I've been healing myself and others for like more than a decade. Is it now like 15 years, like lots of years. So I understand this is not always easy to do on your own. This is why healers need healers. This is why soul convergence exists, you guys. This is why we have soul convergence, is to guide you and help you through this process. But this is how it looks. This is what happens. This is me healing me. This is how I do it. This is one example. And I do this, every time I do this, I call in the angels. I'm not by myself. The angels are helping me move through the energy. They are the ones guiding me through the process, showing me what I'm seeing. It's a cooperative process with the angels. So my daughter puts her head through. She's here with me. I'm trying to love her. I'm trying to let her into my heart. She's trying to come through. There's a barrier between us. So I open to the barrier. So, okay, what is the barrier? I ask the angels, show me what this barrier is. And I'm taken whoosh through the barrier, and I'm standing. I see myself in a past life. I see myself standing in a circle, and there's a woman on the ground who's been stoned to death. And I think, oh my gosh, I was stoned to death. And no, I wasn't. Even worse, I see down, and I am holding the stone. I am the one who stoned the woman to death. And I'm sitting with the stone, and I'm of course, I'm horrified, right? Absolutely horrified. And I see, and I feel in that moment my realization of standing in the group, and I can see I was in the moment carried away by the group, by everything that was happening, and it never sunk in that life, in that time, it didn't sink in what I was doing. Like, it's almost like I was blindly following the group, and I didn't think, but I was I threw the stone, right? It was me. Even though I was in that moment, I'm looking at the woman, and it's like the realization of what I'd done sunk in. And the horror of it, the absolute horror of it. And I'm in the dream, and I'm trying to rework the stone. I'm trying to turn it into flowers. I'm trying, like, what can I do to heal this? Like, oh my gosh, how do I heal this? And nothing. It wouldn't work. I was like, okay, what do I do? And then I go to the woman, and I'm trying to tell her how sorry I am, and I'm trying to bring her back to life, and I'm trying to rework it. How do I rework this? Nothing's working. And then the angels show me that I don't need her forgiveness, that she has moved on. She's got in another life. She's somewhere else. It's me. I have to forgive myself, that I have to accept that I was the one. I have to accept this stone. I have to be with myself, knowing that I am someone in a past life who did this, that I have to be that person and love myself anyways. And that is heavy, you guys. Like, that is heavy. To know that at some point, some part of you did this awful thing, and to love yourself anyways. And so I had to take that stone, and I had to put it in my heart. And I had to say, okay, this is part of who I am. This is who I am, and I love myself anyways. And I had to take that being that I was and bring her to my heart and love her anyways. Right? And love her even though, and understand the circumstances. Like, how did it happen? I understand it was another time and place. Doesn't forgive it, doesn't make me feel any better about it. But I can love myself through that experience and understand how it changed me, how it made me infinitely more compassionate. It made me much more understanding. And so in this life, because I had that experience, I created the karma for myself to be the outcast, to be the one that is stoned. right? To be the receiver of what I did. And so I created this experience at my birth where I would come in and I would feel like I was an outcast from my family, from my parents. I would feel alone. I would feel lost. And I would then carry that into my childhood where I would feel like I didn't belong, where all the children would run away, you know? And some of you know, just to add a little levity to the conversation, some of you know the story of when I first met my step siblings, when my mom married my stepdad. And the very first time I met all my step siblings, I was a lot younger than them. I was like 5 years old. And we met on these concrete steps. I remember, I just have vague memories of this, but we went to their house and we were sitting on the concrete steps. And my step siblings were all like at least 10 years older than me. And we're sitting on the steps and I farted because I was 5. I farted. When you're 5, you don't think your farts are bad. I just farted. And they, being teenagers, were like, ew, gross. And they all like ran away from me and left me on the steps. Outcast, right? Like I was like right there's the moment. There's how it ground into my body, how I accepted the belief in myself as like something's wrong with me, right? And it's fart. It is what it is. We do what we need to do to create the experience we need to have. So that was this week. That's what I was working on this week. And so I opened up to the feeling and I let that in and I accepted that part of myself and boom, right? So much more openness inside of me. And how you guys are saying you see my throat chakra, you see the blue coming out. The more of me I'm willing to accept, even the deepest, darkest parts of me, the brighter my light can be. The more love I can feel, the more compassion I can hold for others, right? It's a beautiful journey. It's not an easy journey, right? It's not easy. Everybody would love to think we were always the good person, but we weren't. You know, and the things that you feel this year may be things that you were the perpetrator of in another life. And it doesn't mean you were necessarily evil. You know, you don't have to be evil to do something bad. Like there are times we follow the lead of others without thinking. And so, anyways, that was my experience. And I think I just want to share it with you guys to know, like, this is what it looks like. This is what the journey looks like. And it's being willing to encounter yourself again and again and to understand, like, there'll be another thing. Like, this was a big one for sure. This was a doozy, but there'll be something else. There'll be another thing that comes up. And it's every time I work on myself, I learn something. You know, I learn something more about myself, about humanity, about the human condition. And then it makes me that much more compassionate to those of you who may have done something you're not proud of, you know? And yeah, it was a past self, but that doesn't mean it doesn't come through me, you know, and that it's part of me. It's part of who I am. So those of you who have that energy, we can vibe. Those of you who are like, oh, I did something crummy, we can vibe. Here we go. There you go. So anyways, I thought, important to share this thing because it's important to know that, like, I'm not perfect and I'm on my journey and I'm learning and none of us are perfect. And that's by design. Like, if I was perfect, you guys would not connect with me. You wouldn't feel like the whole point is that we are one. You know, the whole point is that we are one being at our core. And there's no one of us who's better than anybody else. And that's really at the depth of it. It doesn't matter how bright and shiny and sparkly we are. I bet you Yeshua, when he was alive, I bet you he did stuff he was ashamed of. You know what I mean? Like, I bet you he did. So, yeah, nobody's perfect. All right, so let's get back. And you're saying, thank you for sharing. You're so welcome, Natalie. She says, I had similar experience this week, too. Wow, what a doozy, right? Right on the, what was it? Not the eclipse, but the, what it begins with an E, brain is not working, the thing, equinox, right on the equinox, right? Exactly, big time for moving, exactly, right? Jeannie says, I'm crying so hard. Oh, thank you so much for being with me, Jeannie. I appreciate that so much. I was told that I was a doctor who was awful and uncaring to my patients in a past life. It makes so much sense because I'm both terrified since birth of doctors, untrusting them. I too was horrified to learn this. Yeah, right? It totally, and have had to heal myself from what I did. Your story is so helpful. I'm so glad, you guys. So real and authentic energy in the group. Thank you so much, Anne. Yeah, and it resonates for Trisha. Thank you so much. Yep. And I bet Yeshua farted. I bet you he did. You know, he had to. I bet you he laughed when he did, too, because he's pretty funny. So that's awesome. Yeah, and Lisa says, wow, thank you for the sharing. I have a lot of work to do. We all do. Every one of us, and that's the beauty of the journey. That's why we're here, you guys. We are here for the journey. Yeah. And you're saying, thank you for sharing. You were helping me heal. Thank you so much. Like, that means a lot to me. It really does. Okay, so let's get back to the message, to what they're saying. So they go on to say, So we bring in this ancient aspect of ourself that can do these things, and we all incorporate that. They go on to say, there shall be amongst yourselves the many memories of what once was shared, as if recalled upon a sudden moment. There shall be these shared moments of reference, which you shall call upon one another to embody those souls you have been before, to draw forward into the then now moment what you shall require. So we are bringing in this old understanding of how to do this. Whoopsie, there we go. We had a little lag in the video, but hopefully it's still good. All right, they go on to say, there are many skills which you are lacking and needing. There are many thought points which have not occurred before to yourselves, and these shall be formed anew. They shall come into presence. You shall have what you require, what is needed. So in other words, we won't know everything that we need to know when we come into this new reality. We won't come into like all of a sudden knowing exact. So we will still be able to help each other. Like I said, everybody will probably have a piece, and we will be able to teach each other and share and learn and grow together, which will be really cool. But they said they shall come into presence, right? You shall have what you require, what is needed. They go on to say, how will it be determined what is lacking, what is needed, what you have want of? It shall come through in the form of decision points. It shall come through in the sensation of your own desire for something, not as in a relaxation into the energies of what has been, for yourselves will be changed. So we will have an awareness of something that we feel, it's almost like this would be awesome, like an idea, a point of reference, a decision point. Like, I think I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this. But it won't be because we are thinking of something we used to have and try to recreate it. That's not what it's going to be, because we will have changed. We will no longer long for the things that we think are important today, the things that we think are relevant or needed. So think about this. What if you're like, I think I would like to manifest $1 million, but in the new reality, that doesn't make any sense. If you can create anything, all money does is buy you stuff, right? It's just stored energy to pay for things that you think you need. But what if you don't think you need any of them, because you can recreate whatever you need? There's money becomes useless. Like, what's the point of that? So that doesn't mean we don't necessarily have money in the future, but I think we will use it really, really differently. I think we will think of it much more as stored value that we can use to create and to share with each other, our gifts. Yeah. So, or as Rebecca in our group likes to say, we will use reciprocities. Even if we don't have money, we will have reciprocity. One way or another, we will do trade, or who knows what we will do. We will see. Yeah, I know it blipped out there for a second. Sorry, you guys. Yep, I see you, Rebecca. Reciprocity. I said the magic word. Absolutely. Okay. So then, okay, they go on to say, where am I? I want to make sure I don't lose it. So we'll have everything to create what we need, right? Okay. So it shall come. I think I lost my place, you guys. Let me go back here. And there it is. So it's formed from the knowledge of what we have. And you shall no longer be desirous of those things. I'm up here, okay. Not as in a relaxation to the energies of what has been, but for yourselves will be changed. You shall no longer be desirous of those things which are toxic and against the human condition. Shall no longer frame your reference point from among the societal constraints which you have been accustomed to, such as, for example, boy, I wish I could manifest a 401k. Well, that probably won't make sense anymore, right? So that's an idea of letting go what you don't need. You shall form your knowledge of what is from the perspective of hearts that feel gladness, from the perspective of life and love that intermixes with one another's own sense of yourselves as together as one. And within this perspective, what shall rise to your awareness is what shall serve the all. So it's it's hard to imagine how different things will be, because we will be so different that it will no longer be a thing where we're tuning into what we're, and really, like, it's not to say anything judgmental about where we are today. Who we are today, there's been a point to it, which has been to discover ourselves in separation, to understand who we are, what we want, separated from everybody else. What lights you up, right? How do you spend, if you get a free day, how do you spend it? Like and that may be doing nothing. You may just be like, I love just sitting and like contemplating my belly button, and that's totally okay. Or you may be like, the minute I get a free moment, I'm like out in the woods, or maybe you do a knitting project, or maybe you cook, or whatever you do, like whatever, and think about like, okay, that's how I fulfill my happy place. But in the new, and we've been in this space of understanding ourselves, right? Now we are moving into this unified consciousness where we are focused on what raises all boats in a rising tide, what meets the need of everyone. Like, and it's because we're tuning into the love, right? The love experience. How do I create more love from inside of me? So within this perspective, you shall write what shall rise to your awareness is what shall serve the all, what shall come to serve all of humanity and earth herself, right? What shall come to in service to us all. And within this perspective, all you want and desire shall be made. So everything comes from that place of service to all and the earth. They go on to say, it shall feel as if you have disturbed something within your own hearts, as if there is a longing that can be shared amongst yourselves. So literally it'd be like tuning in telepathically, and you will find a longing that other people resonate with and be like, wow, I could make this thing that I long for, that all these other people also long for, and then we can enjoy it together, right? How cool would that be? So, and then they say, as if all have agreed upon a desire for something that is not there, and it shall then materialize. Not all at once, not as if you can press upon a desire and have it made like a button, right? It's not going to be like that. Not like the machine that makes everything. My son is so funny. When he was a little boy, we were building a house. I did a lot of house construction in my younger days, and he's a little boy, and he drew plans for his future bedroom, which he gave to the contractor on this rolled up piece of craft paper, and he drew a machine that makes anything. And they had like all the little gizmos and a button panel, and he gave it to the contractor, and he said, this is the button you press so that anything you want comes out of the wall. And he gave it to the contractor, really genuinely thinking that he could make it. It was so cute. Oh, so funny. The machine that makes anything. But no. So anyways, we won't have that machine. It will be instead, they say that it will be like this. They said, it shall come into the foundation of your own experience. So it creates through you. So it comes into, you create it through a reflection of your own beingness. So it's going to come through. Say, for example, that you have, I'm thinking right now of one of the members of our community who does beautiful artwork that it looks very influenced by, to me, it's like lots of sea creatures, turtles, and it makes me think of like art that you might see like in the Hawaiian Islands, like it has that kind of a feeling to it. So if this is who she is, so imagine what she creates might come out with that perspective, overlaying it, right? It might have a little bit of that vibration or that feeling or that whether it be smell, touch, taste, however, it might come out through with that because that's what she has embraced, what's part of her, So that's kind of a fun thought, that it comes through the foundation of your own experience. It shall come as if you have created something and it is the want that you are needing. So whatever comes through you, it ends up satisfying the want that you identified. You shall find yourselves available and have available to yourselves the tools that are necessary, the means shall be provided, the structures that are needed to create what is wanted. It will be as if you are a part of the apparatus of creation, which is true right now, but we don't see it that way. We just see it as like we are in the world and the world is outside of us and we are here. Instead, we're going to be very conscious of that whatever we're creating is flowing through us, and it is colored by who we are, right? It becomes like we are influencing it deeply. Yeah. And then they go on to say, and you shall have want of nothing. You shall find yourselves well equipped in the desires which are easily fulfilled by what is surrounding yourselves. It shall be as if, I love this part, as if all that was made for the purpose of satisfying that which you want. All that was made for the purpose of satisfying what you want. And what you want is made for the purpose of being satisfied. So think about that your wants are created in alignment with what is, so that you never feel a lack of anything. It's a total shift. Right now, our wants are created for the experience of lack, to teach us suffering, to learn through contrast, through the lack of what we want. We learn through the absence of something. We are going to change fundamentally, deeply, so that what we want is made for the purpose of being satisfied, so that we experience a reality of all of our wants being fulfilled. Like amazing. So our wants are in alignment with the feeling of having everything that we need. Isn't that incredible? I mean, it's like this is what the new reality, how it's formed. I feel like this is taking what we've been told or what we've learned so far and bringing it to a new level where it seems so simple and so practical, but it's so foundational to how we're going to create our new world. They go on to say, all that is occurring now is in dissimilarity to that experience, which you will have. So in other words, now couldn't be more different from that, right? The world you are in is created for the opportunity of seeing what you lack, of experiencing suffering. It is as if the current moment of now polarizes itself against your own want and need, so that you may experience the absence of that which you desire and can focus upon it and experience your polarity in juxtaposition to that which you would create. So right now, the whole point of life is to experience what we want and to live in want, right? That is now. That is, we are constantly chasing what we want, right? And that's the idea, is to identify. The focus is, how do we identify what we want? We're trying to see it through contrast, through lack, through suffering, right? We try to identify want. Then they say, it is a process by which you have been given the opportunity to confront your own disharmonies from within. So we have inner experience of disharmony, and we create disharmony outside of ourselves. We experience lack internally, lack externally. The future, this is what we're going to be experiencing in the future. They say, but in the new times that are forming, all that you are has changed. All that you are going forth shall not be in seek or want of contrast to the same measure. You shall not search for that which you are in want of. You shall instead find harmony and live harmoniously within a realm that is created from your own desire to want nothing. And thus you shall have exactly what is needed. Think about that. So rather than saying, I experience suffering because I am experiencing lack internally, I experience lack externally, we move to a place where we say, I have the desire to want nothing, right? So I release my attachment to all things. In other words, to want nothing is to release your attachment to everything. When you release your attachment, you create a world without lack, right? Amazing. Absolutely amazing, you guys. Yeah, totally cool. All right, so then they go on to say, and thus you shall have exactly what is needed. So, and this comes from self-love and self-acceptance. So here's how they say it's internal harmony is self-love and self-acceptance. They say, there shall be provided to yourselves shelter. Home, as it shall be found, is made with one another and amongst the ease of a world that needs no second guessing, that has no doubt within itself, right? So in other words, self-love, right? That does not need to prove its worth to anyone. You shall find yourselves found again in the center of your own love and friendship. Right? So this is how we get there, through accepting all aspects of ourself. And this shall form the foundations of a world that is filled with plenty. So we change ourselves on the inside. We release our attachment to what we don't have. We accept what is. And this becomes the foundations of creating a world with plenty. There shall not be a need for that legacy of striving. You shall find yourselves pulled into creative endeavor and shall discover amongst yourselves great swirls of opportunity to form into reality that which you have thought of. And this shall delight and amaze you and your friends. You shall find yourselves in a creative purpose, abundantly expressive in all ways. Beautiful. For some, it shall be through the arts of healing one another. So we still will have healing to do, because you guys know when we move to this new state of consciousness, it isn't that we are suddenly healed. We release our karma, which is the judgments we've made of ourselves in this lifetime. But that doesn't mean our soul has healed to its deepest level. We still have healing work to do. So we will still have healing arts on the other side. I've just been describing this as the reality that we are in right now has been called the Earth School. And we've been given textbooks, and the textbooks are about ourselves, learning about ourselves through our wounding, through our experience of our life, through our contrast. That is how we've been learning about ourselves. And that has been what's in the book. And we've been reading as much of the book as we possibly can. So this has been cramming, right? Trying to read and learn in the book. When the flash of light comes, we will set the book down. We don't carry the book with us. So we no longer have the book of karma, but we also don't get to read it anymore. So we're no longer going to have that available to us. We have to learn in a new way, which is not going to be as easy to learn about ourselves, but it'll be a different world. It'll be a world where really the point is about learning about ourselves as manifestors and creators. That's going to be the new reality. So it's a different experience that we're going to have. But we will still be able to work on healing. It's just that it'll be coming through in a new way. So there will be healers and healing arts. So they said for some, it'll be the expression will come through the art of healing one another. For some, it shall be through the thought of creative expression in words and stories. For some, it shall be artistic endeavor. Some shall wish to create through architecture. There are many forays that can be made, all of which are formed within the concept of self as adequate, enough, of having been met with abundance at every turn, And there shall not be a sense of yourselves as in contrast with one another or anything. There shall not be the need to strive against another's comparative force. So in other words, no more competition, right? We're not going to measure ourselves against what someone else does. If someone creates something wonderful, we have collective consciousness. You're going to feel like someone just gave you a beautiful gift rather than feeling like you are not as good as they are. You're going to feel like, wow, thank you for the beautiful gift, right? It's going to be a very, very different, all that stuff, all our wounds will not be playing on us in the same way. And Donna's saying, if we have no wants, we have no fears. Yeah, I think that's the fears stem from being in our head, like worrying about the places where we think we are inadequate or not enough, or the world doesn't accept us, or all of that. And that is all the karma we let go of. So we don't have that. We have self-acceptance, self-love. So in a place where literally the lesson has changed from learning self-love to learning about ourselves as creators. It's a new school, right? It's a new lesson we're learning, and we let go of the old one. The old book was the self-hatred. The old book was the feeling of not worthiness, and that's what we're putting down. And yeah, and that was the goal of teaching us about ourselves from that perspective. And this is a new type of learning that we're moving into. There are then they go on to say there are oh, here we go. Last one. Then they say the magnanimous behavior of humanity shines in the new generative focus of your own consciousness. And magnanimous is the angel word of the day. And I love the words, beautiful word. It means generous, and it means many things. It means generous or forgiving. So magnanimous, generous or forgiving. So it has more things too. So generous, number one, is like, giving towards one another, but forgiving. Think about what that means. As what we're heading toward is the idea of integrating all aspects of ourselves, forgiving ourselves, releasing our karma is forgiving ourselves, which allows us to open in love to one another, forgiving. So this is the new humanity, will be a forgiving humanity who has accepted itself, loves one another, despite everything that we've been, done, said, learned, right? Forgiving. So then they say, so it is generous or forgiving, lofty or courageous spirit. Courageous is huge because coming to earth is enormously courageous. To come and step into this experience we've been having takes enormous courage, right? So they're honoring that. And then it also is nobility of feeling is another definition. So this is that idea of stepping into that spiritual perspective of everything that we are and have been, of seeing us from that place of where the angels see us, right? It's a nobility of feeling. The magnanimous behavior of humanity shines in the new generative focus of your own consciousness. So what do we create? What we create comes from this lovely, generous, forgiving, lofty, courageous spirit with nobility of feeling. That is what we're creating from, right? You shall find yourselves not needing, not behaving against what is offered, but enjoying what is and finding prosperity because of it. You shall not suffer any longer. What a stunning, stunning, stunning message, you guys. I was so excited. I think I was like jumping off the couch this morning when I was reading this. So excited to share it with you guys. And one of you was asking, when is this all going to occur? The angels, as you guys know, they live outside of time. They don't experience time. And so they haven't given us time. But my personal belief, not channeled, based on astrology and based on the sequence, they have given us sequence of events. This happens before that kind of thing. I think it could happen as soon as the second half of 2026, summer to the end of 2026. I believe the flash of light could come then. I could be wrong, but that is my personal hope and guess is when it might be. So it's not far. And you guys know we have a lot of unwinding to go through before we get there. We have a lot of other things that are not going to be easy to get through that we will go through until we get there. And during that experience, we are meant to turn inward, to close the blinds, not focus on the fear that will be created, to not focus on the fear, to focus on love. And when you do that, they said, it will be, the new realities will be rising like a phoenix from the ashes. Through the destruction comes renewal. Focus on the renewals. Look in every destructive moment. Process your sorrow. Process your grief that might come from those experiences. But then look for what is rising. Look for what's coming from that experience. That's coming out of it. What new thing has been birthed. And that's how we're meant to get through the difficulties that are going to come between now and the flash of light. Yeah, because we don't have to stay. They say we can rise above the fray is how they describe it. Above the fray. Yeah, you're saying very deep and intense healing work for me, but as well this week, heartful, but also full of angelic light. I mean, I really feel supported by the invisible light realm. We are between to big eclipses, two big eclipses, and the equinox was very strong as well and deeply profound. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're so right. This is a very powerful time. And Daria says, amazing, uplifting message. I love it. Samarie says, speaking of books, when is yours available? Thank you for asking. I'm super close. The phase where we are right now is the proofreader has gone through and proofread the whole thing. So now I'm going through and I'm just accepting all those changes. And I have to like write the summary and like get the blurbs, and then it's off, you guys. So I mean, like, it's really close. I'm hoping I can get it out. I'm hoping amazing would be the second week of October. I'd be thrilled. So the title, I have the title and the tagline, but I have to, it took some careful choosing. I think it's What's Coming Next. I can't remember. Anyways, I'll get you the title. Anyways, it's coming soon, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So thank you so much for asking. And the book is a compilation of all of the message, I've chosen the most impactful messages from the angels about this experience, about the shift in consciousness, and group them together by topic area with short summaries for each one, so that you can read through and get a full understanding of what this experience that we're going through is, and how it's changing us and where we're headed. So yeah, I find it to be super helpful to see them in that way, to see them grouped by topic area is really helpful. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, if you want to come to the retreat to sign up. Like I said, the deepest experiences are full, but there are spaces if you would like to come. So come and check it out. It's at the last weekend of October. So if you're coming from elsewhere and you need to book your flights and stuff like that, you want to get on it because it's coming up. So I hope to see you there. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, you guys. Sending you tons of love. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.